Hey friends, welcome back to another video. It's been a while since I've made one of these sit-down videos with you guys, but I do miss them. In this video, this video is a bit of a rambly video, so if you're interested in the short version, I did make a vlog for this video about my experiences at COP28, which is the world's largest climate change conference, known as the Conference of Parties. It's held by the United Nations, and this year I had the chance to attend. And so this is a bit of a long format video where I go through a deep dive into a lot of my experiences, my thoughts, my perspectives on a lot of the things that took place at that event, at that week one of that event. To start off, COP28 was amazing, right? It was surreal. It was really top highlight of last year of my experiences going to various different conferences, different events. And I would say that COP28 is like no other event, right? I'm so glad that there is this yearly meetup of leadership from young leaders, advocates, activists, professionals that come together in one area and just discuss and bring plans to action, right? And so last year, COP was held in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh. And so for me, and the year before it was held in Glasgow. And so every year, the nuclear energy industry has participated in some capacity. This year, there was, like every year, the capacity of participation was a lot larger than the last. So the group that I was involved with this year is called Nuclear for Climate, right? Nuclear for Climate is, it's a network of advocates from across the world. Most of the advocates that are part of Nuclear for Climate actually work in the nuclear industry. Right? Nuclear for Climate is an organization on its own, but it's also a not-for-profit organization. It's more of a network of different young generation of nuclears from across the different worlds. So young generation of nuclear communities, so for those that are young in nuclear, is usually considered 35 and below, okay? So yeah, that's a very different definition of what young is considered in typically other industries. However, a group that I was really involved with in my undergrad, I was a chapter president at my university, at Ontario Tech University, was called NAYGN, or North American Young Generation Nuclear. So that's one example of a young generation of nuclear, which is kind of Canada and the United States, which is NAYGN. Okay, and then you have your own French generation nuclear. You have Spanish young generation nuclear. So most of the countries out there that are big on nuclear have their own young generation of nuclear communities. And so this network, Nuclear for Climate, is a collaborative network between all of these nuclear generations that are working together. And so they select delegates every single year from across the world. I think there was around 35 or 40 or so delegates that were selected. Could have that number wrong. It may be as high as 65 for all I know. But there was an application form that takes place every year that comes out, and then you can apply. So if you want to be part of Nuclear for Climate, you can join as well this upcoming year. And so ultimately, that's how I got involved. I got involved in Nuclear for Climate in their content creation team, okay? Because as you know here, this is what I do. It's my bread and butter, content creation. So I launched a bit of a podcast series for Nuclear for Climate, which was really fun, okay? Got a chance to speak with a lot of the volunteers that are part of the Nuclear for Climate organization. And so speaking to the young leaders, learning about what their involvement is like, to what capacity, it was a bit of a developmental exercise for me as well, because it helped me learn about all the different initiatives that these young, talented professionals are doing, right? So we also had weekly and bi-weekly calls with folks from across the world on the content creation team, and it was great to ultimately at the end of the year meet them in person, right? Because we were all part of that delivery team. Okay, and so yeah, the delivery team is not only content creation and communications. That's only kind of one area. There's also different parts of the organization, like there's events and activities. So hosting events and different activities. There's media, right? So there's representatives that are specifically selecting which media outlets to take interviews from. There's the booth as well, right? So there's a subgroup within that organization that looks after, hey, how can we set up a nice booth, right? So I think a big part of the booth was having this massive jelly bear, right? Or this gummy bear that represented the amount of energy that would be required to power the Burj Khalifa for over 200 years, right? If that gummy bear was nuclear powered. And so you've got a bunch of different groups in this organization that are delivering some value at COP28. They're also representing the nuclear industry, okay, or representing the nuclear professionals. So we don't really represent our own companies, but rather we're all under the banner of this one advocacy group. Okay, so yeah, it was a really cool organization, really cool space. I really enjoyed my time there. Yeah, so the conference itself was hosted at EXPO City. Okay, and so EXPO City is a city that was built for this event called EXPO. Okay, and so the city now is just kind of like the Olympics. It's become a part of Dubai's infrastructure. It's a city where large events like COP, which have around 70,000 people, is basically the perfect place to host it. And so it is a really nice city. Like you've got these kind of like curtains that are see-through, which act like shades, okay, especially because Dubai gets really hot. There's a lot of walking, right? The city itself is huge. It's an actual city, right? It's massive, but they also have all these cool golf carts which are going around the city and taking attendees and delegates from one part to the other. Security was top-notch as well, since kind of like a nuclear facility, your bags are being checked, your luggage is being checked, you're going through a metal detector. So of course you're having like very high and esteemed leadership from across the world coming to this conference, and you need a lot of security, right? So it was great to see that there's various security checkpoints while coming and leaving the conference, and even in different zones, right? So there's a green zone and there's a blue zone. Okay, so there's typically this conference has two zones. Majority of the 70,000 people that come out have to stay in the green zone. Okay, and so the green zone itself is it's quite stunning. It has different activities. The public can come and participate, but the blue zone itself is a bit niche, right? It's for you need a specific pass to enter, right? So you need to either be a country representative, a party representative, party overflow. So there's different types of badges where you have to apply for, and there's a certain number given out from across the world. So it's a super niche and limited conference for people to attend. So it was really cool to see those two zones. I found the green zone a little bit better than this blue zone, to be honest. There's a lot better displays and cool areas to go to. The blue zone is pretty cool as well, to be honest. So the Nuclear for Climate booth itself was in the blue zone. Okay, so we got the booth there, but there was also a mini outdoor booth. Okay, and so this was probably one of my favorite highlights of the conference. It was just being on the ground and talking to people and interviewing them and just chatting with them about nuclear energy, right? I had my handy dandy fuel bundle, right? As you can see, I had this bad boy, okay, at the conference. Yeah, getting this through the airport was quite the story I'll tell you about, because I didn't do it. It was actually a friend of ours. Shout out to him, Luke Dolnick, who brought this across from Canada to Dubai. And Vishay Sodasi, thank you to you for bringing it back from Dubai. It's an empty fuel bundle. It doesn't have any uranium or any trace elements of radioactive isotopes. However, this does go through metal detectors, and whether you're putting it in a carry-on or a hand luggage, it can, the security is going to inspect it. They're going to see what's up with this. And so I guess the strategy that was taken was actually to put a piece of plastic on top saying that this is an informative display, and also a copy of participation to COP, okay, as well. And then I believe a Apple AirTag was also installed on top of this, which is why it made it safely there and back, right? So I think it was a great educational display that helped a lot of people at COP understand more about nuclear energy, because it's one thing to kind of put a picture or a schematic of a reactor, but it's another to have a bundle of nuclear fuel and say that, hey, listen, this is how many homes this can power in 1 year, right? So it made a huge difference, a massive difference, and I was really happy that this resource could be used. I guess one of the questions that I had before going to the conference was, what is the energy like? What exactly does it feel like to be at COP, right? Is there only politicians? Is it only professionals? Like, what is it like? And so the answer is, to be honest, it was a really cool diversity and cool mix of people from different backgrounds, right? So I saw a lot of young people, a lot of folks, even in high school, right? High schoolers or university students, which are very passionate about nuclear, or passionate about not even energy and nuclear, but also various other elements that are really relevant to climate change, right? It could be waste, it could be advanced technologies, it could be indigenous engagement, it could be community engagement, it could be so you had a whole spectrum of individuals, all the way from activists that are on the ground that want to bring awareness to certain situations and issues, all the way to professionals which are presenting solutions and showcasing technologies, so industry and various others. And then there's also like folks that are on the ground, politicians and leaders in their communities. So it was a vast spectrum, and I love that, right? Because when you walk around, you talk to people on the ground, everyone's very receptive to talking and conversing and communicating. And so you got representative from folks from across the world, right? And it was really inspiring. It's really nice to just stop someone and be like, hey, how's it going? Do you want to learn? Come check out our booth. You want to learn more about what we're showcasing. And most likely than not, people are okay with that. And so, yeah, I would say like there was a true diversity of people from different backgrounds, which is great because it's very different than going to a nuclear conference, right? It's very different than going to a conference which is very niche. Everyone's kind of patting each other on the back and all for the same cause. But here it's, hey, folks are from different backgrounds. We're talking about different subjects. Another question that I had was, what's it like in terms of opposition to nuclear? Because I've known in the past at COP conferences, there has been a lot of groups that are very opposed to nuclear energy. And so my question was, what was that going to be like? The good thing was that we didn't come across many folks that oppose nuclear energy, right? So more likely than not, I feel like there's a lot of support. And a lot of the folks from Africa that I spoke to were extremely supportive of nuclear. They were like, yeah, like we need this resource in our nations, right? And so in various parts of Africa, I spoke to various countries, folks from a lot of those countries, and that's the feedback that I got. And it was really inspiring to hear that. And it was really, really interesting take. There were some folks that I would say maybe from Germany that were like, hey, are you getting paid to wear these shirts? Which were kind of volunteer shirts that had like nuclear hero and some nuclear advocacy points on it. And so, yeah, there were some sly comments like that at the conference, but overwhelmingly it was super positive. The declaration that was signed by many nations that said that they want nuclear energy to be tripled across the globe was monumental. It was a historic moment. And so it's, in hindsight, when you're there at the conference and you hear that, it's mind-blowing. And so just hearing this announcement come out and hearing the reactions from various people in the industry, it was surreal, because there are industry leaders that have been working in nuclear for like 20, 30 plus years. And so just seeing the excitement in their eyes is unreal, right? Especially from an industry that kind of has had its ups and downs throughout the past years. So it's just great to see that a lot of nations are seeing nuclear energy from that pragmatic perspective, especially with this connection to climate, because of course nuclear energy is zero greenhouse gas emissions while operating, right? And overall, very beneficial for the for humans and for the environment as well, in terms of not having the same impact that other energy resources do have. So yeah, I would say that after that announcement came out, there was a spike in energy optimism. So that was really cool. All right, so going back to just my favorite experiences, just talking to folks in the mini booth, I would say some of the top three people that I met was Phil DeLuna, right? So I follow him on LinkedIn, and he was a candidate for the Green Party, right? Not that I'm a fan or I'm an advocate for the Green Party, but he's a young upcoming leader in the climate and climate change and energy space. And so I've been following his journey on LinkedIn for a couple of years. And so I got a chance to meet him, shake his hand, and just introduce myself. I think that was a really cool moment for me. There was also another time where I met some folks, from Canada as well, right? There was a student who was there from Alberta, and he was talking about his experiences supporting nuclear energy, which was awesome. I also met some individuals from other countries like Korea that weren't too fully aware of Korea's nuclear program and the changes that are ongoing and all the incredible activity. But it was cool to hear their thoughts and concerns, right? So genuine concerns about nuclear, and just giving them some information and just chatting with them about the situation. I met folks from Germany that voted for the phase out of nuclear in their nation, and so that was really interesting because they were talking about their perspectives and their motives for that decision to be made at the time. And so that was a very unique discussion. Although we had differences in opinions, we were able to share our thoughts, and we were able to have a really, really cool dialogue. I also really enjoyed going to the various pavilions. Okay, so at COP, there's many different pavilions all across the Blue Zone. Okay, and so each nation has its own pavilion, and then going to a lot of the other pavilions, like the Dubai pavilion, was really nice. Showed the history of the entire nation and how it's developed over time. You've got the Korean pavilion, okay, South Korean pavilion, which showcased an SMR as well. Also like carbon capture technology, and just there was a lot of effort put into that. And so yes, I think those are kind of some of my favorite experiences. I went to the Japan pavilion, which was really cool. Showcased a lot of their technology. And so yeah, so every nation had its own pavilion and different. There was also separate buildings for energy, finance, law, and many of the other subjects as well. So you can kind of pick what you want and go check it out. I would say one of the things is at this COP, you really have to plan out where you want to go before you go, because the vast scale of Expo City is so massive that it's hard to come across everything. You really have to strategically plan to go to this pavilion, go to this one next, right? So yeah, the step count was insane, right? Like getting a lot of steps throughout the day. That was really cool. And yeah, I would say that's pretty much some of my top experiences with how COP28 went. Got a chance to hear a lot of different panels from a lot of different speakers as well, different nations. Okay. So overall, I think it was a really cool experience. COP was really, really, really fun. And so, yeah, I think this is a cool video just to chat about and rambly video about how my experiences went. But yeah, I would say if you're interested in going in the near future, this would definitely be something that you should add to your bucket list. I wish I had the chance to. There was another group of nuclear professionals and activists that were heavily involved in at COP this year as well. It's called Net Zero. It's an initiative that was launched by some really cool leaders in the industry. And so The Net Zero Initiative had other influencers be involved, like Chris Kiefer. There was Mark Nelson. There was Paris. There was Grace Stanke, so Miss America 2023. So it was incredible to actually go and meet these folks on the ground, see a lot of the activities that they were involved with. There was also a whole net zero conference that was held, which was incredible. So got a chance to, I didn't get a chance to participate, to be honest, because my flight was the day before, but I would say that that was another really cool initiative in terms of the face of nuclear at the conference. And so, yeah, incredible initiative. A lot of participants got a chance to actually see the Baraka units. Okay, so the 4 units that are launched in in Abu Dhabi, I believe it's very far away from Dubai, like around 4 or 5 hour drive. I didn't get a chance to go check it out, but I would say that that would be a really cool experience that I would love to do in the future. So yeah, so that's how it was. That's how COP was. It was an enlightening experience. It was fun. I learned a lot. And I think the contributions professionally were incredible as well. So there you have it. That's how the conference went, and hope I get a chance to record another video like this and keep them up. Please, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe and like this video, please do. And till then, take care. Bye. Peace.